And we are not ordinary, we are AIA. We're the reason you can say each and every day we are AIA. And we are not ordinary, we are AIA. Live for, protect, grow, and get well with AIA. We are here to make a difference. We are
going beyond coverage.
We are with you all the way. We are building a world of total health solutions. Live well
with AIA vitality.
Protect well. Life is full of uncertainties. Well. With medics, don't you worry.
AIA cares about your recovery.
We want to help you raise your vibe
to a healthier, longer, better life.
Live well, protect, and get well too.
'Cause this is what we do.
Hi everybody, welcome to our Kingdom Coffee Talk. How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody is having a good time. I hope everybody have already taken your dinner, right? It's already 8:30 already. And I believe this pandemic, most of us are stuck at home. We've got nothing to do. That's why you see a lot of all this online Facebook Live, Instagram Live is coming out, right? It's just for a form of entertainment, and also it is also for a form of learning, right? So today, Kingdom Group is an agency with AIA, and we do our Facebook Live, which we call it the Kingdom Coffee Talk, every single Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. So what is this Kingdom Coffee Talk? Kingdom Coffee Talk is actually a lifestyle Facebook Live. So you don't only hear about insurance, obviously, because we are all from the insurance background. So I don't want to bombard you with insurance every single week. So what is this Kingdom Coffee Talk about? Kingdom Coffee Talk is actually a lifestyle Facebook Live where we have different topics every single week. What are the examples of the topic? We don't only talk about digital marketing. We don't only talk about how to increase your presence online. We sometimes talk about insurance. We sometimes talk about products. And we also talk about career, right? What else do we have? We have guest chefs coming on our Kingdom Coffee Talk to also teach you recipes, because we believe and we understand that everybody is stuck at home, and I myself, I love cooking, right? By the way, I haven't introduced my name. I'm Edmund Chaw. I will be your host tonight. So we have different things every single week to keep you occupied. So make sure you block your calendars, right? If those of you are using smartphones, please lock down 8:30 every single Wednesday, Kingdom Coffee Talk, right here on Kingdom Facebook, which is Kingdom Group MY. So you can share to as many friends as you want. You can like our page. You can share our videos, because after this whole live program, the videos will still be there. So you can re-look at our previous coffee talks and see maybe there are certain things that you can learn from it. Like a month ago, I think we spoke about taxation, because it's that time of the year again where we all have to pay money, right? If not, where can we get our vaccination? So we have different topics, and I hope that every single week our topics will teach you something or will entertain you. So again, my name is Edmund Chow. I will be your host today. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. We just celebrated Father's Day last week. I have 3 kids at home. So this Facebook Live is actually an avenue for me to run away from them, right? That's why I always volunteer myself to host this program, right? So MCO 3.0 has been extended again. I believe many of us are going through a lot of tough times, and some of our businesses are also going through tough times. But there are also people who are excelling, right, during this pandemic period. So we have to relook into our businesses and see what are the things that we can do better, or what are the things that we can change to make our business grow during this pandemic period, right? Like it or not, online or digitalization is supposed to come maybe 5 years down the road, or 3 years down the road, right? Or maybe 10 years down the road, right? But this whole pandemic and this whole COVID has actually expedited everything. It made everything now rather than later, right? Because I used to buy things online maybe once a month or twice a month. But now, almost every single day, even my wife is looking at me and saying, whenever my kids and my wife hear the doorbell, ding dong, they will look at me. What do you buy again? What is coming again today? What delivery again? You know, they will be asking me all these type of questions because, like it or not, this is the norm. It used to be the new normal. Now it is the next normal. Or I would say it is normal, right? It is normal already. Right? Like it or not, digitalization is here, right? That's why today we are going to pick on expert's brain, right? To see how we can, maybe whatever business you're in, maybe how we can do something about it, or how we can learn. Even if you're not running a business, if you're trying to be, you are trying to build your own brand, right? Your personal brand. Edmund Chaw, I want to be famous online. I want to be famous in social media. What should we do, right? What is the first steps that we have to take? And how are we going to move forward towards that direction? Seriously, I'm a very old school person. I'm a very traditional person. Online, if it's not a must, or digitalization, or even technology, if it's not a must, I will push it aside for a while, right? But right now, during this pandemic, I've got no choice, right? I've got no choice, and that is the reason why I met this young gentleman, because I know I had no choice, and I had to talk to him, right? How did I meet him? I met him virtually at first, right? He was part of my company's training. And I've attended many trainings, right? To be honest, I've attended many social media, many branding, social branding, digitalization trainings, because our company has tons of trainings that we can attend. But this particular person actually, I don't know why, right? He appealed to me because I listened throughout the sessions, right? It's a 2-hour training broken into 4 to 5 days, right? And this guy actually is the only person that I really paid attention to. And he's the only person that I actually brought my wife to sit next to me. I brought my wife to sit next to me, and I said, this guy is real. You know, this guy, memang, the thing he talk is not all the jargons and all that kind of, it's applicable things, which for an idiot like me, online idiot like me, I can resonate to it. I can really think that, yeah, I can practice this, I can use this. So that's how I got to know him. And I reached out to him, and I met him in person. And yeah, in person, he's the same as looking at him through the screen, right? The things he talk is really something that you can really use, something that you can, it will play with your mind a little bit, make you start to question certain things, and make you start to question the way you are doing things, and whether it's right or it's wrong. So this whole thing, right, made me more comfortable with digitalization, more comfortable with social media. And also, I don't like to take photos last time. And now almost everything I do is the phone first before me, right? Before you makan something, the phone have to makan first. When I go jogging, or when I go for a workout, or whatever it is, the phone jogs first, because the phone have to take an Instagram live of my legs moving, and then I need to post something first before I start my jog. So I became very comfortable in this digital atmosphere, I would say. People say digital is always very noisy, right? Online is always very noisy. So we have to make sure that our voice is heard, right? So we have no choice but to adapt and to change. And before I continue to bore you with my story, okay, I want to introduce you guys to who our special speaker is today, right? And how this guy has actually made an impact in my life. And I think he is continuously making impacts in different people's lives and different brands and companies out there. And today we will learn about, not only learn, it is more of a casual chat to see how we can learn some strategies and how to improve our digital knowledge, right? So a very special session today that we have organized, Kingdom Group. We brought in this guy. Some of you might know him, some of you might not know him, but those of you who don't know him, he is the guy to look out for, right? Because there are a lot of things you can learn from him. He's Asia's Forbes 30 under 30. He's an entrepreneur. He's a TEDx speaker. You see, I have to read from another screen because that's how long his credentials are, right? He is a youth advocate and an online strategist, right? He helped brands go online, and he helped brands strategize and market themselves online and on social media, anything to do with digital, right? He's recognized as one of the top 10 new generation business leaders in Malaysia, right? And he is also the founder of OpenMinds Resources, a dedicated company to help and consult businesses scale their digital marketing strategy, right? Through OpenMinds, he has actually worked with hundreds of brands, not only in Malaysia, but globally. He has offices in a few different countries, helping clients bridge the gap between marketing and technology, right? When I first met him, what I like about this guy also, he's a super passionate individual, right? And I'm very fortunate to actually cross path with this guy. And really, this lockdown, one of the main positives is I met him, right? So without further ado, I've told you all his credentials. I think you guys are super excited as well, aren't you? Right. So without further ado, let me invite and introduce our guest speaker for today, Mr. Jan Wong. Hi, Jan. How are you?
Hello. Hi. Good evening, Edmund. I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. So you have heard your credentials. I've actually said everything about you, right? So how is this whole thing? How is this whole pandemic coming about now?
Well, first and foremost, I must say that you gave a very detailed and good introduction. I did not expect that. You covered everything from us meeting to my credentials to what you have learned. It's quite amazing. I don't think I have any introduction done like that before. But you know what's interesting? The first time we met physically, it was over physical coffee. Right now, we are meeting again with virtual coffee with your session. I personally find that quite interesting. But yeah, MCO, I think you rightly introduced just now. MCO just got extended again. But I think the entire 1.5 years of different versions of MCO has been very interesting and exciting, at least for me. Of course, in the earlier stage, we were a little bit worried. We were thinking what may happen, what to expect, and etc. But I think it turned out to be quite an eventful journey. There are many explorations, new project launch, plenty of brands help as well within this season, in which I'm very grateful for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very true. Actually, I mean, personally, right, I actually enjoyed the MCO, or I enjoyed the pandemic. Not putting finances aside, putting businesses aside, I actually had the chance or the time to spend with my family, which prior to this is not to say that they are not my priority, but it's always work, right? It's always work.
Yeah.
So now during this MCO, actually, thank God, maybe it's also God's timing to slow all of us down, humans, right? To tell us to take a step back, take a breather, and look at what's important. So I really enjoyed the first MCO, the second MCO, but now the third MCO, it is starting to get a little bit more worried, right? Because I think a lot of businesses that went through the first and second one, they thought they're going to brave it through and then start again. But after the announcement of the third one and then the extension, a lot of people are hard to stay positive. So how do you stay positive during this time?
Well, I think that's a very good question. And to me, positivity really starts from your own well being. I believe that if you cannot even keep your own self together, whether it's physically, mentally, or emotionally, it's going to be very difficult to stay positive no matter how we try. Because reality, it's tough, right? We are stuck at home. You're surrounded by these four walls. Like you said, I have many friends as well that were very grateful that's able to spend time with their family. But after a while, right, it is their family that drove them up the wall, you know? They're like, oh, I cannot take it really. I cannot stay with my wife, my husband, or my kids, you know? I need to go out at a cafe or something like that. So I believe that positivity starts with your own well-being. So for me, it's all about compartmentalizing your days, or rather my days on a daily basis, to make sure that there's actually time to work. It's very important, obviously. There's also time for you to explore new things. I think that's one part we usually substitute with something else. And last but not least, time to also play. Now, I won't talk about the percentage of all these things because I think it differs from people to people. But I truly believe that these three components actually helps one stay positive because it actually contributes to these few areas that I talk about, right? Your emotional side where you have your own the play moment where you actually get to relax a little bit. You actually also tap into the security of what's going to happen next because you're constantly exploring. See, I think a lot of problems happen when we are so engrossed with work. Like for me, right, I realized that in this MCO period, I tend to get sucked into work a whole lot more than before. Somehow at home, like today, for example, I've been in front of this camera since 9 a.m., literally almost back to back with only 15 minutes of lunch break in between. It's insane. On a normal work day, I'm also packed, but not at this level. So it's very important to find an angle where we can truly explore beyond what we are doing because that is the one that gives us the hope of positivity to move forward.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. No, I mean, before this we were busy, right? Before prior, I mean, pre MCO, we were busy. But the thing is, we still had time. You know, we drive around. You know, sometimes we walk out to tapa or lunch, and get a coffee or whatever it is. But now it is. I think people are taking advantage of the virtual thing. You know, to actually okay. I have a last time I have a meeting at 9 to 10:30. So I think Jen, I will meet you at 11:30 lah. We'll put a gap in between. But now is, oh, I have a meeting at 9 to 10:30. Okay, I'll meet you at 10:45. Or I'll meet you at 10:35 because you know you are sitting there and you know that
Yep.
you are just a click away. You know, so I think a lot of people are also getting busier and busier. And the time spent in front of the computer or in front of whatever you are using, the tablets or the iPads, it is really straining to your body, right? So speaking about the pandemic and the busy schedule, do you actually have a routine or the certain things that you need to do before you start your work or certain things in between?
I definitely need a routine. I'm a guy that runs on routine. Without routine, I think my days will kind of fall apart to some extent. Why I say that is because I believe that by having a routine actually sets the pace of the day. And to build this routine is very important to kind of pay very close attention to how you respond to work and your productivity levels throughout the day. And then from that, you build a routine out of it. So for me, for example, for the past 1 year or so, my routine is very similar. I will wake up at about 5 a.m., 4:30, 5 a.m., around there. And I will spend the first 2 hours, 5 to 7, without dealing with work. I won't touch my phone, right? I won't reply my emails. I won't open up my slides or prepare anything for the day. I'll actually just use that 2 hours as my exploration time. So I use that time to read, I use that time to write. I'll ask myself questions that I need to solve in the business point of view. I'll start literally brainstorming with myself, just solid 2 hours. By the time it hits 7, I close it. I will do a quick word up, maybe about half an hour, 45 minutes, depends what happens on the day. Have a breakfast, shower, then only my day starts.
Okay.
Right, so that is where I will start. After shower, I will come out, then I pick up my phone. Then only I go through the emails, I catch up with what happened throughout the night, maybe read a little bit of the industry updates, and then the schedule starts. So that's how I typically do it. And I usually also like to schedule my meetings later towards the day. So if I can help it, it's always past 3 p.m. And there's a reason for it. I always put past 3 p.m. because I realize at the 3 p.m. mark, my brain power actually drops, like it literally dips. So if I were to continuously put myself through creative related work, brainstorming, trying to solve problems, I know I'm not at my peak. But at the same time, I don't want to just go and take a nap, right? That kind of defeats the whole purpose. So I thought to myself, hey, what can I do? Not to say that I don't need to use any brain power, but what can I do that puts me into a more productive mode? So so for me, it's all about the meetings, all about the team catch-ups, all the different conversations. I park it towards later today. So my day kind of runs like that, especially on weekdays.
Okay, so hearing you are a staunch believer of the 5 a.m. club.
Kinda, yes.
Yeah, I've heard it a lot. I've tried actually, but it's just that I'm curious. What time do you sleep?
I sleep before 12. Latest, I will not exceed 1 a.m.
Okay, all right. Because I've always wanted to try consistently. Like, I've tried it once or twice. I always wanted to try the 5 a.m. club consistently. But the thing is, with 3 kids, it's really hard to sleep early. After you settle all of them, you just want some me time. You just want to scroll through the TV for a little while, and have some snacks before you sleep, right? So it's really good. Yeah, I think what we can learn is here during this pandemic, we all have to have a routine, right? We all have to, because our fridge is one side, our TV is one side, our bed is one side. If we don't have a proper routine, I think it's very hard for us to operate. And also hearing what you said just now, we also have to understand ourselves. When is our peak, our brain function, and when we can actually really come up with the most creative juices, right? That will actually help us actually plan our routine, right? So during this pandemic, digitalization is huge now, right? E-commerce is booming. Everything to do with online. As long as your business have the word online or something, digitalization or anything that doesn't need physical or retail, you are there, right? One way or another. It's just how much you make, right? So looking at OpenMinds, right? OpenMinds, which is your company, you founded the company. Can you tell us a little bit about what the company specializes in and how has this pandemic actually helped your business, or did it not help your business?
That's a good question, but just for everybody else that are very curious over here, is that OpenMinds is actually a MarTech consultancy company, which is a short form for marketing technology. So what we do is that we help clients figure out the right digital strategy to undertake for them to achieve their business goals. Because digitalization is not just about digital marketing. It's not just about e-commerce. It's literally finding aspects of your business that can be converted digitally. So this means it could be operation automation. It could be sales automation. Yes, it could be social media marketing as well. But there are sometimes it's about customer relationship or customer retaining. Sometimes it's about even how you manage your stock properly using different systems. So with the data gathered, you can perform even more. So the challenge is that a lot of clients or a lot of brands out there, they are stuck with just digital marketing. So when they approach digitization, they approach with a very big misconception to say that, hey, Jen, how can digital marketing help me solve this operational issue? Which is not the case. So that's why OpenMinds is positioned in a way where we go in, we help the clients identify gaps and then suggest to them, hey, these are the areas you need to look at. These are the areas that you are missing right now. This is your current team capabilities. You need to bring them to this level before you can start working on these things to achieve the goal that you want. So that's how we've been operating in the past 9 years. But in terms of MCO, like you said, whether it impacted us or not, Well, operational wise, interestingly, it did not impact us at all. I know that a lot of companies with the start of MCO went into kind of like a frenzy mode where they don't know how to handle the operation, how to do communications and all that. But fortunately for us, we have always been operating semi-remotely because in our culture, we only go into office 3 days a week. The other
Oh,
2 weeks are actually working remotely, right? So our system, the way we communicate, the way we manage projects have always been on the cloud. So when MCO hit to us is that, okay, now let's just do 5 days remotely, So operational wise, I think it actually confirms our setup, in which we were very pleased. But an interesting story is that at the start of MCO, it did hit us quite badly, especially when the first wave came in. Because I recall back in 2019, end 2019, we were actually celebrating. We were celebrating 2020 because we actually closed two very major projects. I would even go to the extent to say that they are hallmark projects, that they were like, yes, we actually secured whatever sales we were looking for 2020 in 2019. And then went into 2020, and of course the pandemic hit, right? And which I don't know whether everybody remember which country was the first country that was hit by the pandemic, but it was China. And guess what? One of these two contracts was China.
oh
So
no.
yeah, and I remember the discussion that me and my partners have, right? We sat everybody down and say, okay, guys, it's okay. We still have one more. This is just China. It was still Wuhan. We can do this. Don't worry. Give them some time, right? Let's focus on the second contract. Now, the second contract is a European contract. And if you remember, the second biggest cluster was then in Europe at that point of time. It hit us so bad. We were like, what's going on? We celebrated a couple of months before, and now we are in this. But it was very interesting because that actually put us into a situation where we literally need to realign all our pipelines. And because it's so new within this region as well, everybody was in a panic state. It definitely wasn't easy, right? So on the business management side, we definitely had to tweak certain things. We needed to make sure the administrative part, the finances are well guarded, well spent, and things like that. But one area that we really managed to grow is really the education side of things. Now, education isn't new to OpenMinds. In fact, we've been doing this from the very beginning because of my passion in education, in my partners in education as well. We really believe that the industry needs practical and realistic education and not just motivational hoo-ha gurus teaching you what to do. Because without the practitioner's perspective, we believe a lot of these things actually don't make sense. And it's quite easy, to be honest. I mean, with no offense, but it's going to be very easy for somebody to just come out and say, hey, you should use TikTok. TikTok is the way forward. See all these things. Anybody can say that. But have you actually done it for clients? So what we really wanted to do is to take our experience from these hundreds of clients, from FMCG to car manufacturing to retailers to shopping malls to departmental stores to F&B, translate it into tangible experience to the people that we consult or teach. So we started this project called Open Academy. That was even before the pandemic. But the pandemic literally just put it on steroids. Everybody was looking out for this point of education, which led us to actually launch an app to further distribute what we know.
Wow. So hearing your story, right? You all are actually apart from your operations, you all are actually quite physically driven as well, right? And now during this pandemic, that's how you all actually change your whole operation and change your build more pipelines to move forward online, right? I'm also glad that you brought up TikTok. You brought up this word TikTok because that's gonna be my next question. Not TikTok in particular, but my next question will be a little bit about social media. Everybody is talking about social media now, right? I don't know, is it due to the pandemic? Suddenly everybody is a social media genius. What is your take on social media? Is it really that effective? Or can a business, whatever business they are in, or whatever business our viewers here are, I think they would also like to know, is it okay not to be on social media, or we have to be on social media? What is your take on this?
Well, I will give you the very conventional answer first, which is yes, you definitely need to be on social media right now, and for very obvious reasons. Okay, I think sometimes we as businesses we tend to complicate social media a little bit too much because we start reading books, we start attending courses, we start looking at YouTube, and everybody's talking about tactics and what you need to do, the do's and don'ts, blah, 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 a whole long list of things that complicate social media. But we also need to remember, right, what is social media built for in the first place? If you boil everything down, right, despite of platforms, despite of tactical advantages or whatnot, it's actually just one word. It's communication. That's it. And with communication, this has existed for hundreds of years. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised hundreds of years ago, social media is actually writing physical letters. That is social media. Our fax machines were once upon a time social media. Our emails were social media. Now, for those of you within a specific age group, ICQ, MSN Messenger, Yahoo Messenger, those were social media, right?
Yeah. Okay, continue. Go ahead.
No, so with that said, right? So that is why it's actually important to look at it from a perspective where, hey, if I'm a business and if I'm undertaking social media, I need to actually not find the right channel. That's only one part of the puzzle. The more important puzzle is how do I even start this conversation? It's communication, right? So it's about conversation. How do we even start talking to people? How do I make myself more approachable? How can I make that people to actually talk to me? How can I meet more people? Many of us tend to put that aside because we think that, it's more important to learn ad buying. It's more important to learn lead generation, which actually diverts the attention away from social media more than anything else.
Okay. So to all our viewers out there, just a reminder, you can share, you can invite everybody to watch this session. And there is actually a comment saying that there's some echo. So I think it's better now. So if there is still echo, please type in the comment section so we can try to sort it out. All right. So moving back to our current discussion. Social media, a lot of people, you said, focuses on ad buys and this and that. So what actually are the common mistakes that actually people are making or businesses are making when they are trying to go onto social media or trying to spend some money on social media? What are the common mistakes?
I think you mentioned the right keyword already. Spending money, if you immediately jump to the conclusion that you're going to spend a lot of money on social media, that is already wrong. That is completely wrong. Because if you're approaching social media from the perspective of spending money, it's literally, right, you going out there by the street, giving money to people, say, hey, come talk to me, please come and talk to me. I'm giving you ampao, please come and look for me. It doesn't work that way, right? And I think from a business perspective as well, it doesn't make sense. I can't go to the street and say, I'm going to give you $10 right now, will you be my friend? I don't think anybody would actually be a genuine friendship it made that way, right? Our friendship wasn't built like that. So I think one is that. Number two is that people tend to not spend enough time curating conversations. It's very interesting, because when we look at social media alone, from a consumer perspective, okay, all of us are consumers before brands, right? In this situation, we always want people to talk to us. Like we want brands to mention us, we want to feel the closeness within the brand, we want our friends to like our page, comment on us, reply to us. But right, as a brand, we don't want to do any of these things. As a brand, we take the same mindset as the consumer and say, yeah, you want, you come to me. which is a mismatch, right? Social media requires two-side conversation to take place, and that requires a bit of time. So that's why some individuals and business owners, or sometimes even financial consultants themselves, they come to me and ask for advice, right? And then they ask me, hey, Jen, how long does it take to see results on social media? I say, well, you need to at least put 6 months of hard work. 6 months of hard work. What is hard work? Very simple. Post every day. Engage with your fans every single day. Add value to your followers. Produce valuable content, original content. And then, oh, Jen, so many things. Can I pay you to help me do it? You know what that sounds like to me? It's like, hey, Edmund, I pay you to go service my clients. You go take to my clients. It doesn't work that way, right? Edmund, go make friends on my behalf. I don't think it works that way, right? So I think there's a huge misconception here where you think that just through setting aside a specific budget, your social media will automatically work. It doesn't happen that way, like completely no way.
Okay. Wow, I think this is a little bit mind blowing because I think me included, right? A lot of us think that as long as we have the budget, the more the merrier, right? Then we will have results. We will definitely get the results that we want. It's just a matter of time, right? As long as we keep on spending, right? So I think whatever you explained, it is really something that, come to think of it, is true, right? It's like what you said, going out, giving money to people and asking them to be your friend or asking them to like you, right? If you put it in that way, now it suddenly makes sense, right? But when we look at the social media space, there is so many different types of platform. Okay, previously during our time, if you just mentioned ICQ and the that kind of thing, right? And then
okay, proven you are from that generation.
IRC, right? IRC,
Yep.
ICQ, and then there was Friendster, and all those actually went aside, and it came Instagram, Facebook. Then LinkedIn came into the picture, Twitter, and now there are so many things like Telegram, like the talking one, Clubhouse,
Clubhouse.
and then now there is TikTok. So of so many different types of platforms, how do a business or a person actually focus, or is it, do we need to be everywhere? Means any new social media that come up, we have to put our presence there. So because I'm also wondering, as a brand or as a business myself, I'm also thinking, what should I do? So what do you think?
So the thing here is that you shouldn't split yourself too thin, because there are so many different channels out there. It's literally impossible to take care of so many channels. And I'll tell you why first, all right? Now, some people will counter me, and I experience this almost everywhere I go. They'll say, hey, Jen, you talk about branding, you talk about awareness, right? Isn't it like offline? The more billboards I have, better, right? Everywhere you go, you see me. That should be the way. Then you are on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you're on Pinterest, you're on Twitter, you're on Reddit, you are in all the forums, you're on Telegram. But one thing that you forget is that you cannot compare social media with offline billboards. You cannot. Why? Because offline billboards, or if you take traditional marketing or offline marketing as a comparison, those are one-way communication. And the expectation from the consumer is very different. When they look at a billboard or they look at a piece of flyer, to them it's like, this piece of paper won't talk to me. I don't expect an interaction. Now, on social, on digital, it's going to be different. If you are there, I can find you, I expect a response, or I expect certain information to be found consistently, right? So imagine again, now you're the consumer, right? And then you are looking for a particular brand, maybe. And then you found him maybe on a lesser used platform in business, let's say Discord, which is a gamer platform. But somehow, right, you find this brand over there. Then you are a Discord user. Obviously, you say, hey, not bad, this brand, right, is on Discord. I go into it, last updated 2017. The last post, don't know, from aeons ago. you know, and then when I start PMing you, you got no reply. That actually cause more harm to you. In other words, right, when you go and choose the channels you want to be on, you need to make sure a few things. You need to keep these few things in mind. Number one, you want to first look at where are your audience congregated in majority first. Where are they hanging out the most? Are they really on Clubhouse? Although there was one time the hype came in, right? Everybody said, "Oh, Clubhouse, Clubhouse." But the question is your customers even there? Is the audience that you want to connect with even there? Some people will say, "I want to go to LinkedIn," right? Wow, LinkedIn looks very good. All the professionals are there. But can you really say that all the professionals are there? Are they not on Instagram? Are they not on Facebook as well? So you need to be very sure where are these people at in the first place. That's number one. Number two, you also want to look at yourself. Are you able to upkeep that type of content or not? Because I can tell you that, sure, TikTok is a growing platform, you know, that grew from 200 million users to 800 million users in the span of just 10 months. But hey, if your audience is not there, why go on TikTok? And if you cannot produce TikTok videos, like you literally cannot understand the platform and you really don't know how to do it, maybe it's not ready for you. Why don't you focus your time and effort and money into platforms that you are already able to confidently create content in? Now, my recommendation for brands and businesses is that you always want to keep the same 80-20 rule when it comes to channels. You want to spend 80% of your time focusing on your core channels, meaning that the channels that you already have. Let's say Facebook, Instagram are your main one. That is your 80%. Okay. The 20% are your exploratory channels. So you can use a bit of your time just to test out Clubhouse, you know, to see what's going on. You can get a TikTok account, try creating one content over there and see what happens. Do you understand the process? What is the response? Are you actually attracting the right audience? So that there's always the exploratory side of your brand, because that is also important instead of just staying just true to one particular channel. That could also be dangerous over the long term.
Okay, so if I heard you right, I think first thing is you have to understand the objective of why you are there. Is your market there first, and then
Yep.
if your market is there, what is the objectives, right? And whether you can consistently do it or not. That I think will be the first three things you need to really ask before going on or choosing which social media platform you are in, right? Okay,
right.
Jen. I think the viewers can actually read my mind because somebody actually asked a question that is very similar to my next question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kevin actually asked for Facebook, right? How much do we weigh or how much to spend to advertise? Wondering if we spend more, return is higher. So my question to you is, a lot of us are new. Honestly speaking, before this pandemic, I think a lot of us, apart from big brands, right? A lot of us have never actually thought of spending on Facebook or Instagram. It is more just to be an influencer or KOL, to build your personal brand, to showcase your interests. But now during this pandemic, a lot of us are actually wondering. So my next question to you is there like a understanding or a starter pack kind of thing where, okay, if you are new, you want to spend on Facebook, minimum have to spend 500 a week, then you will see returns? Or is there a rule of thumb kind of thing?
So I mean, in corporate terms, in corporate terms, we will always advise companies to put between 10 to 20% of their marketing budget into ads. That is from the corporate sense of things, right? But if outside the corporate world, to be honest, this Facebook ad, there is actually certain recommended ratio. So I won't talk about the value first. Let's talk about ratio first. So I'm sure as a business, you would have certain amount of budget set aside maybe for digital related work. Okay. My recommendation is to actually spend 60% of the budget on organic postings. So you actually spend 60% to perfect your foundation, meaning that you are actually spending time creating valuable content, you're writing articles, you're creating valuable videos. And so 60% goes to that. 20% actually goes to what we call the third-party medias. This is the collaboration part of things, where you want to find ways to tap into other people's network. So what you try to do, you try to maybe partner with a media platform. You're trying to post your articles on a complementary industry kind of a website. You're trying to get another industry expert, like something like what we are doing right now, right? So we are crossing industries, trying to do something together. That will be 20% of the budget or time. Now, the remaining 10 to 20%, that is where you look at ads out of your entire budget. A lot of people tend to flip it the other way around. They probably do 60% ads and then only 20% organic. And I don't blame them, because sometimes you see the numbers go up when it comes to ads, right? The moment you buy, you see, wow, now I got 100 likes. But my advice is that you shouldn't be driven by some of these vanity numbers. What you want to do, right? Because when it comes to ad buying, it's actually not as simple as just put money and click button. It really isn't. Because if it is, right, all of us would be multi-millionaires by now already. If it's really just a money game, right, I rather buy ads to boost my business than buying crypto. It can rise even more, Imagine I put 100,000 into my ads, right? And then 100,000 can beat 10 times return. Why not? Right? And it's business, it's legit. The risk is not there. But it doesn't. That's reality. Because ad buying itself, to be very honest, is quite mathematical and scientific driven one. You actually need to be able to have that patience to do a lot of testing. So we have a performance marketing department in-house, right? You know how they test? Even when a client came to us, and this was just a couple of months ago, a corporate client came to us, this person actually has 100,000 budget to spend, and we need to spend it within 3 months. Now, a typical person would be, wow, a lot of money spent, just buy all the ads, boost. But that will not bring results. So what needs to be done? What we do, right, even with the so-called 100,000 budget, do you know that the ads that we spend on were only about 100 ringgit per ad? But we test it against 100 of different variants. So imagine one client, one product, but 100 different ads. 100 ringgit, 100 ringgit, 100 ringgit, we test. And then which one actually gives the result? We promote that even more, and then we test variants of that again. And we keep testing and repeating until we so-called find the perfect match and the conditions for the different ad types that will perform. That is how you buy an ad. So this means, right, even if you have a 500 ringgit budget, just now you shared, 500 budget is not about 500, boom, all into one ad. The 500, if you really want to spend it, is probably spending 50 ringgit, you split it into 3 or 4 different ads first. You see how it goes. You run it for 2 days. Then you say, okay, out of the 5 ads, this 2 does not work, this 3 works. Now I'm going to spend another 50 ringgit to see which one is the winner out of this few. When the outstanding one comes up, then the budget goes in to push it. And guess what? That is just one element out of ad buying, out of a whole lot more that can spend the whole night sharing.
Oh man, this is so suddenly it feels like it's so much, right? It feels like it's not easy to actually master it. Actually, I'm guilty. I'm guilty of this, because I tried to boost my post, right? And I spent about 300 ringgit boosting one post. And I got literally zero, nothing back in return. So I think the strategy that you share, to the viewers out there, I think the strategy that Jen shared is actually very applicable and very practical for us to use. Maybe out of the budget that you have, I hope it answers Kevin's question. Split it out into few ads to see which one work, and then once you have shortlisted it to the maybe 2 or 3. Then spend a little bit more to see which is the winner. And then you know that the audience that you want are actually looking at this type of particular graphics or this type of particular design or posters or even text, right? So I think that is a very good advice from Jen. To all our viewers out there, if you have any questions, please type it in the comment section and we are glad to help you, or I can gladly ask our expert here today to see if we can answer those questions. All right, moving along. So we have answered which platform to go to or how to choose a platform. We have also answered the question of budget, right? So let's move on to the next myth, all right, or the next question that a lot of us have. If not all business can go online, not all businesses can go online. What if, there are some people who would say that my clients are, my target market is not the young generation. My clients or my business is old school, not ngam one. Go online, it doesn't match. So I think I just stay back, traditional. Don't work lah, but I cannot go online one because it's not for me. So is it a must that all businesses have to move, like it or not, because that's the trend now, or we can still afford not to do it?
That's a very, very good question. And there are many perspectives towards answering this question. Well, I will start off with the easiest to say that to some extent, I do agree that not every business needs to go online. Okay, but these businesses are very exclusive, meaning these businesses probably have a super niche target audience, or maybe they just deal with one or two big clients. So these are probably some of the monopolistic kind of companies. These are probably the business to government kind of a dealings, which is not towards mass market. Okay, so if you fall into that category, then sure, you don't need, because all your business dealings is done purely through you knowing somebody. You need to be somebody to get the somebody, right? So, okay, fair enough. But I would say the rest of us, right, whether you are in a B2B traditional company like heavy metal manufacturing or manufacturing door frames or something like that, all the way to something that's consumer selling popcorn online, digital is something that you cannot run away from. Now, few reasons. Number one, we need to be very honest to ourselves to also know this, right? This is not trying to put some bad omen or whatever, but that older generation will pass. So what kind of business are you trying to build? If you think about it, Facebook has also been around for about 10 years already. They are not exactly a young generation platform. So when you look at the second point, not only the first point I said that this generation will pass and then the next generation take over, the second point is that on more matured platforms like Facebook, like Instagram, the bar of age, right, the age group bar is also getting older. Back 10 years ago, we can say, well, Facebook is a cool thing, only the 20-some are there. Right now, I know grandparents are on it, 50, 60 years old. They're up there on Facebook as well. They're communicating. So you cannot say that they are totally absent from them. That's the second point. The third point is this. We also need to be honest to really look at this target audience of ours. Sure, they may not be doing their business or they're not representing their business on these platforms, but they are on these platforms because they also have friends to connect with. Right? These CEOs, these CMOs, these CEOs that you think that they are not on, but they are. Because they are there to they also have a social life. They are not devoid of technology. They don't just play golf and just stay on the course the whole day, every day, right? They also are connected to some kind of social network. This means that there is still a possibility to target them. But the biggest reason is this. B2B, B2C, again, if you remember, I started this session by saying that digital marketing is not just about social media. So if you blow it up a little bit, right, I hope you will also know that on a day-to-day basis, sometimes when we are looking for a product or a service that we do not know of, we Google. We go to Shopee, we go to Lazada, we search for a particular product. We go to forums, like in Malaysia, we have a Laoyat forum, or we go and search for Facebook groups. We go look at Telegram groups. We ask friends for certain websites that can share with us. We will go into we search in the different hashtags. We go into Pinterest to look for information. We go to Google. put in Google Maps, we search for a particular restaurant, see how many stars there are. In fact, I just did that this afternoon, right? I was browsing GrabFood to see what to eat for lunch. I saw this place, never see before. I go to Google Maps, I put the restaurant name, I see, wow, 2-star, the one, next. But you see, right, all these different micro behaviors actually helps your customers discover you. And if you are not there, you will always not be discovered. The awareness is close to zero because now we are a generation where everything we have a problem, we Google, we search. So imagine if you're saying that you are a pure traditional company, you are not there, chances are you actually don't exist. And that is very, very scary.
Okay, okay. So I believe in summary, all of us really have to go into social media, whether we are selling something or we are not. It's just to make sure our people can reach us and the information of what we can do is out there for people to search for. All right, that is a
Yep.
very good explanation. That's also one of the reasons why I really like you, because the things that you explain is layman, right? It is easily absorbed and easily digest, right? So, okay, the next question, since we mentioned B2B, B2C, and all these kind of things, a lot of people have been using this word, and honestly, I'm a little bit allergic to this word already, because since the pandemic started until now, pivot, 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 pivot. Everybody is talking about pivot. As long as you're a so-called online guru that have a sponsored ad on Facebook, the word pivot will not run away from that, right? So, how actually can a business pivot, or what is the advice you can give to businesses that is not selling things online, that is not e-commerce business? How to pivot if that's the way that, I mean, if I'm not selling something online, how do I pivot?
Okay. You see, right? I totally agree with you with this word pivot is it's really overused in this particular season. Simply because it's a cool word to use, pivot. But in business, right? Or rather in the startup scene especially, we use the pivot quite often as well. But this pivot always comes with certain conditions, which is a lot of times some of these gurus don't tell you. Now, what are some of these conditions? Number one, to pivot, you first need to know whether you actually need to pivot in the first place or not. Like, is it really necessary to pivot? Because sometimes, right, it's not so much about pivoting, it's about embracing new things. You don't need to pivot, you don't need to abandon your business to just start selling things online just because the e-commerce game is going strong. Because again, by committing yourself to e-commerce, it's a whole new business model, everything changes, right? Is it necessary? Or is it all you need is just a fresh perspective of just taking parts of your business, aligning it to some digital stream, and you'll be able to move forward already. So that's the first point you need to know. Number two, even if you have decided, yes, I want to pivot, you also need to look at what exactly are you trying to pivot into. Are you trying to pivot into a digitized product, or are you trying to pivot into an entirely different business model altogether? Because both paths will lead you to different outcomes. If you're trying to just digitize a particular process in your company, sure, that kind of makes sense. But if you're saying that right now, from selling chairs and tables, you're going to start selling electronic items, then it's a totally different game as well. So you need to be very clear in the outcome of the pivot. Why are you even doing this in the first place? Now, if you're in a business where it's totally affected, let's say you're in a travel business, okay? Even so, someone has challenged me before. I think this happened early in the pandemic last time. I was in a webinar like this, and somebody came and said, "Hey, Jen, you talk about some of this change in digitization. I'm from the travel agent business. I got zero sales right now. Don't tell me I don't need to pivot." I challenged the guy. I said that, what if I told you you really don't need to pivot? What if I told you that you can use this particular situation, all you need to do is to focus all your travel knowledge, right? Convert it into a storytelling mode. Why? consumers' emotions on a high. Every consumer wants to travel right now, but they can't. But imagine your portfolio of all your photos, all your videos, all your content and all that, right? In other words, you convert the entire business. Right now, you become a KOL of travel. You talk about these places, right? Then your monetization comes from your content already, no longer your service, but your content. And when you do this and when you gain that popularity, you get your AdSense, meaning you earn some money from Google, you earn a bit from ads, you get a bit from sponsorship, you sustain yourself, and you continue going this content path. Imagine what will happen when people can travel again. Who will they look at right now? Is it you that have pivoted into, let's say, a logistics business to stay alive? Or you that have been spending time building that super strong foundation as a KOL in the travel industry in preparation for that day to come? Things can change. So my thought is that, hey, pivot is sometimes the shortcut, because here there's a roadblock, I immediately find something else. But the good thing about digital is that there are other ways to monetize your business. And you need to be able to see it and put the effort to make it happen as well, because it definitely also won't happen overnight.
Yeah. Well, I think that is actually a very good advice given by you, because a lot of times when we hit a roadblock, the next thing we do, especially when we see our friends doing well in other things, right? The first thought that comes into our head is, hey, why not we try doing this? Why not we pivot our business towards this, right? Because, wow, pandemic doing so well, or my one pandemic roadblock. Or. So yeah, it's overused, this word. And I think as much as we like the word, we also have to, the first thing that you asked us just now, do we really need it, right? And you mentioned about storytelling. You mentioned about, building contents, right? So previously, it was just posting a picture. Then it moved to recording videos. And then it moved to, carousel pictures, storytelling, and all that kind of things. So now we have seen a rise in live videos, a rise in trend in live videos. Does live videos really work? Not the ones that we are doing now, the ones that normally they are recording themselves talking, or recording themselves eating, or those kind of things. Does those really work?
The short answer is yes. Content like that actually works, and again is driven by few factors. Number one, the primary factor that's making this thing work is actually the algorithm of the platform itself. So this is a little bit technical, but all you need to know is that a lot of platforms favor live content, right? Because you have to understand, from Facebook perspective, from Instagram's perspective, from LinkedIn perspective, every platform's perspective, they want people to create more original and authentic content. The keyword is original and authentic. And what's even more authentic and original than a live video? So because of that, platforms will always favor live content. You're right. So that's one. Number two, is not only platforms that favor live content. Us as consumers as well actually also prefer live content, which is also a reason why things like Instagram stories do so well. Because we have also evolved to a time where sometimes a normal posting takes too much attention, too much content that's going on, so much to scroll through. But when it comes to stories, when I see you, when I see what you're doing on a daily basis, it's so real. It's as though I'm literally on a video call with you. That actually builds the relationship, and people love that. That is how a lot of influencers became influencers, right? Because they are sharing their life, they're sharing their story, they're getting the live interaction with their audiences, and people actually like that kind of relationship built through live technology.
Okay, I think that actually answers the question. Originality is something that the platforms favors, and originality actually is it's like a cheat code lah. It's like a cheat code to cheat the algorithm to help you to reach more people.
Yes, it is a cheat code. I like how you put it.
Yeah, it is. When you play games, you always look for that, right? So, what are
Yes.
the next question? Right, we are going to come to a close very soon. Maybe just another 3 to 4 questions. What are the key factors that a brand have to think or have to come up with uh, when they are actually planning or strategizing their digital marketing? Maybe one or two key pointers that they cannot overlook.
Sure. I think one of the main ones, and I think, Edmund, you have heard me say this many times as well, because it's always overlooked, is a value alignment. Meaning that when you're planning your content, you're putting your strategy together, it's very important for you as the brand and business to make sure your value aligns with the value your customers are looking for. Now, I say this and I always emphasize on this because there's a lot of times when we create content, we create it from the perspective of us thinking it's valuable. Because maybe you think that your experience is relevant, maybe you think that what you have to offer is something that your customers really want, but in return, right, it's actually not the case. That is why if we look around, right, why is it somebody that gives a free ebook and you give a free ebook, that person's ebook can go further than your ebook? Because sometimes it's that, yes, you spend time writing the book, that person also spend time writing the book, but that book resonates, the value matches what the audience is also looking for. Sometimes when I speak to even established brands that have a good product, and when they list down their unique selling proposition or their unique selling points, they'll tell me, oh, Jen, we are high quality, we can do this, we can do that. But then the consumers don't care about these things. The consumer want other things. So what are you talking about? These three things, they don't care. So the alignment of value needs to be very, very important. That's number one. Number two to consider, this a bit more advanced, but with a bit of practice, you may be able to get it, is that you want to pay attention to a compounding factor in your strategy. Now, I'm sure a lot of us will be very familiar with compounding factor in monetary sense, right? Where you build interest and all of that, compound investment and all that. But in digital marketing, there is also a compounding factor. Now, how do you find or start building this compounding factor? Is that in your social media or digital activities, ask yourself, what are you doing today that is able to contribute to tomorrow's performance? Okay, what can you do today that can contribute to tomorrow's performance? Now, why is this important is because imagine if you build your entire strategy to advertising, which is something we spoke about just now. Now, ads has no compounding factor. Why? Because with ads, you have this level of engagement. With no ads,
Okay.
simple, you don't get the engagement. So your efforts don't add up. However, let's say you're spending time building your entire digital presence through digital branding. You create a lot of articles. You're very easily searchable. Now, that in the short term may not give you all the conversion that you need. But the thing is that over time, all these things add up because right now you're more searchable, you're more discoverable, you're more credible. People know you a little bit more. And that actually helps you as well. When you start collecting information from your audiences, you get their email address, you get them to subscribe to you. That is also a compounding factor because the more you have, that gives you a lot more that you can play with in the future as well. So two things. Focus on aligning your value, make sure it matches your audience. Number two, pay attention to what are you doing right now that can be compounded for future performance.
So if I get you right, it is not just about spending money to get the engagement. It is also to make sure the look and feel or the whole presence of your digital presence can actually match with the people that you are looking for, match with the people that you want to target, right? So it's not just about spending money. All right. So yeah, I like the way just now you brought up the book, giving out ebooks. This is just a personal question. This is just a personal question.
Okay.
Facebook, I see everybody, that writes a book or the gurus out there, they are giving out free books and we just got to pay for postage. How does that work actually?
that is just a marketing ploy. To be very honest, it's a marketing ploy, right? So to a lot of these gurus out there, we need to understand their business model first. I think it's very important, right? Their business model is to sell courses.
Okay.
As simple as that. Because if they can get you to sign up for a 999 course, or 10K worth kind of a courses, that is where they actually make the money from. So for them to so-called give out free ebooks or to pass out, just get you to pay postage, like what you said, right? To them, these are just other ways of doing marketing. You see, you don't know what you are selling, To a lot of consumers, you think that it's a darn good deal. Like, wow, I only need to pay for shipping. Wow, it's free, I think I want. Now think about it. What is the cost here? The cost is not the money that you pay, The cost is that you gave him your email address, your home address, and your phone number. Do you know how powerful it is? If I manage to obtain this information, I can target ads to you like nobody's business and you cannot escape my net.
Okay.
In return, right, you are actually casting a net. And instead of spending on ads, I'm actually you see, when you spend on ads, there's something called a cost per acquisition or cost per lead, right? You pay, and then there's this amount that you factor in to say, okay, maybe per lead is 10 ringgit, 20 ringgit, or whatnot. Now here, different. If I'm giving out, let's say, a book, and I say, hey, Edmund, you only need to pay for shipping. This shipping is only 20 ringgit. Now you see, not only you are paying me for the lead, you are giving me yourself as a lead as well. It's a marketing ploy.
Okay. Now it makes sense. Actually, now it makes sense because I was wondering, really or not, this fella, how he gonna make money? That kind of thing, right? So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen out there, we are coming to the end of the session soon. Stay with us. We are gonna have some last advice from Jen, and we are gonna open the floor for some questions. Maybe just 3 to 4 questions, right? If there are any, please type in the comment section. So speaking of which, when we are talking about books, why did I bring this up? This because our expert here just launched a book, right? Building Your Digital Net Worth, right? This book is not free, okay? You have to pay for the book and you gotta pay for the delivery charges as well, right? Get yourself a copy. It's not a sales thing as well. Why I'm advising everybody to get this, because I've not read it everything lah, to be honest. No, I've just read the first few pages, and I think it is really practical, and it's really something that we can straight away apply, and something that we really can understand the whole digital atmosphere and how to position yourself better. So building your digital net worth, you can Jen Wong MY and contact him if you want. Or you contact me, I'll just mark up the price and I'll sell it to you. Also can.
Also can lah.
So now with the author here with us, just one question about the book. What is the key takeaway of the book?
Key takeaway of the book. Okay, first and foremost, the title itself, right? I think I get most questions regarding the title. Why this title? Why don't I call it Build Your Digital Presence or digital marketing or digital branding? For very, very simple reason. Because when you look at net worth, building a digital net worth, right? The thing is that many people associate net worth with your physical wealth, your assets and all of that thing. But in reality, today, your digital net worth also contributes to your asset. All these things that we create, right? The content that we create, the channels that we are on, how we engage, the size of our followers are actually assets. That is why KOLs and influencers are able to so-called command that kind of attention because of the assets that they have. Now, imagine with me right now if you as a business person actually has your command of assets, where all these channels that you're on, content, actually positions you to where you want to be for your audience and customers to pay attention to you. So this book is written from that angle based on my experience. In fact, I wrote the book actually more to help me in the beginning. That is the honest fact. Because when I wrote this book, I told myself, look, Personally, I don't like to read books, right? That is very long-winded. One chapter is like, 50 pages before I move on to second. So you have the book, you realize that every chapter is only like 2-3 pages.
Yeah.
And at every end of the chapter, right, I give you a homework. So you cannot run away, right? So there are 40 chapters over 40 days. Is written away in the sequence to guide you through in building this network step by step. And the best part is when you finish this book, you can reread again because I had a pro tip section that brings it to the level 2. So at the minimum, you can actually read this book twice to actually build it once and reinforce it on the second round. That's what the book is all about.
Okay. So for everybody out there, if you really want the book, please go to Instagram, contact Jen Wong, and he will gladly guide you. We have a question here regarding the book. Do you have it in Chinese version?
No, unfortunately, I don't have a Chinese version yet. The English version just launched like 2 weeks ago. I don't have a Chinese version yet, but thank you for the suggestion. Maybe that would be the next project, maybe.
Okay, so for all viewers out there, come on, we are opening up the floor for questions. Any questions you have for our expert and our special guest here. Experts might make him a little bit uncomfortable. So special guest here, please do put it in the comment section. Jen, we have one question here from Mr. Tan. Do you mind giving some opinion on Clubhouse?
Well, if you have been following me on my social platforms, I think my stance for Clubhouse have been quite clear. I don't see at this point of time Clubhouse being a mainstay, especially from a business marketing perspective. At this point of time, I still firmly believe that Clubhouse still leans more towards more on the vanity side of things, meaning that it's not as sustainable to be included as part of a marketing strategy. Now, why I say that is because it's very difficult to put in a call to action. You don't have continuity in content. For those of you that have experienced Clubhouse before, the content is now or never. It's unlike what we are doing right now, which I'm sure the recording of this can be rewatched over and over again. Right? It could be distributed, you could save it, you could do a lot of things with this video. But with Clubhouse, a lot of this content is lost and it's not searchable. Clubhouse is good if you're just going in there to literally just pop like a networking event. You see different groups of people, you go in, you listen, you pick it up, you attend a show, that's about it. But because continuity is so important in building a brand and business, I wouldn't put that as a primary focus for business owners. I think that if you have that time to create that kind of content, you may be better off creating your own podcast series. Because at least through podcasts, you are searchable on Spotify, you're searchable on Apple Podcasts, and then you are able to build your own follower base on Spotify and Apple Music, which is great as compared to something on Clubhouse. So that would be my opinion.
Okay, so one last question from one of our viewers out here. So does it mean that social media is not just advertising?
That is 100% correct. In fact, social media is never about advertising. Like, never. Simply because, again, of what we have talked about earlier, where advertising is just a way to extend or enhance the reach. You see, the thing about ads on social media is quite simple. You need to see it from a perspective of if your content it has no value at all, no matter how much you buy ads for, it wouldn't go far. Because all you are doing, right, is magnifying something of no value. So if you position social media as a place to just buy ads to get awareness, you're going to be very, very disappointed. Let's put it that way. But if you're going to position social media as a place for you to add value to people, for you to connect with more people, for you to engage with more people, for you to be more discoverable, and through that process, you discover that there's certain content that resonates very well, that is the time you buy ads. Because now you can see that, look, this content that's good, many people like it, Now I'm going to want to make more people see this content or know about this content. That's where ads come in. So don't go in with an ad first mentality. Go in with a value first mindset. Then from there, see at what stage you want to invest in ads.
I see, I see. So it is more important to actually know how you want to position your social media, how you want to create the whole look and feel, and what is the story you want to tell before going into advertising, right? So
Yes.
social media, as what Jen explained throughout the whole almost 1.5 hours. Oh my goodness, I told you 1 hour. Sorry, boy.
Wow,
So
it's almost 10. Wow, okay.
what's that? So we are gonna end this session already. I hope everybody get something from this. One last question for you, bro. What is your advice for businesses or even personal branding when they want to go digital? What is the one advice that you're gonna give them?
Simple. You need to be patient. Like really be patient. When I say that, I don't mean just start a page and sit down and wait. Okay. Social media is something where you need to be very active in. So when I say patient, I mean you need to persevere in your content creation. You need to spend time looking at what worked, what did not work. You need to spend time expanding the net. Through this combination of things, that is where you will slowly see conversion, you slowly feel the growth. But if you're going in and say, hey, it's only 1 month, and I don't see anything there, social media don't work for me, it's not that it didn't work for you, it's that you didn't give it enough time for it to work. So be patient in your content, be patient in understanding what adds value to your customers or to your audience, and also be patient to spot what is the key focus areas you want to focus on in your social media platforms.
Okay, so that sums up our session today. Thank you very much, bro. Thank you very much, Jan Wong,
You
for being here with us today. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your expertise to all our viewers and also to the people out there. So once again, I would like to say, stay home, stay safe, and stay busy. Continue your 5 a.m. club. And yeah, this book is really worth the investment. So yeah, thank you very much, Jen. I'll see you
thank
soon.
you. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye. So everybody, all our viewers out there, I think we have spent almost 1.5 hours here, picking the brain of Jen Wong and also understanding what actually social media is. It's not just about advertising. It's not just about spending the money. I mean, if you are in e-commerce, by all means do so. But if you are not, you are trying to build your business net worth, and also you are trying to build your personal branding. Always look for the few things that actually Jen mentioned just now. The alignment of value is very important. The second thing is the compounding factor must be there, right? To make sure the story that you are telling reaches the audiences that you want it to reach. And the whole social media presence that you are trying to build actually can align with the people that you want to align with, right? So once again, thank you, Jen Wong. Those of you who really have not known about this, please go to Instagram. This is, I'm not a reader, I hate reading. I prefer movies or videos, but really, this is good, right? From a non-reader's perspective, I'm telling you this. So remember, thank you for joining our Kingdom Coffee Talk. Every Wednesday, 8:30, we'll be here again. Please invite your friends and family and also share our videos and like our page. The handle is below. Kingdom Group MY on Facebook and Instagram is the same, right? So next week we will be sharing about a fantastic career opportunity and how to make the most out of this pandemic period, and also mindsets of entrepreneurship. So next week, do join us. Same time, same place, Wednesday 8:30 here in Kingdom Group Facebook. We will be running live. It won't be me next week. So if you miss me, stay tuned. I will come back soon. Right. So once again, I'm Edmund Chaw and I will be signing off. Thanks for joining me. Stay home, stay safe. I will see you again next week. Bye.
We are AIA, and we are not ordinary. We are AIA, we're the reason you can say each and every day. We are AIA, and we are not ordinary. We are AIA, live well, protect well, and get well with AIA. Are here to make a difference. We are
Going beyond coverage.
we are with you all the way. We are building a world of total health solutions. Live well,
With AIA vitality.
protect well,
Life is full of uncertainties.
get well.
With medics, don't you worry.
AIA cares about your recovery.
We want to help you raise your
To a
vibe.
healthy and longer, better life.
Live well, protect and get well too.
Cause this is what we